And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
I promise not to bore you. I may disappoint you in some way, but I'm not going to bore you. I can guarantee you that. A couple of stories have attracted my attention that I think are interesting to me, and I'll get to them in a minute. But I want to read you some headlines. Headline 1, Ayatollah Obama stopped by federal court. That's right. The Ayatollah Obama, the Ayatollah in the White House, was told by a 3-judge panel on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit that his plan to grant amnesty to 4.3 million illegal aliens is wrong. Now, of course, that didn't stop the Goebbels of our time, Josh Ernst, from lying for his commander-in-chief. But we'll get to that later. Topic 2, University of Missouri police asks students to report hurtful speech. Hurtful speech? You mean the First Amendment is dead in Missouri? I'm not making this up. The Missouri University Police Department sent an email to students Tuesday morning urging them to call them and report any hurtful speech they encounter on the campus. Now, you understand that this is insane because hurtful speech is protected speech. In fact, as we all learned, the First Amendment was written specifically to protect controversial speech. You don't need a First Amendment to protect polite speech. You need a First Amendment to protect hurtful speech. Now, if you don't understand that the mobs on campus, as I have been warning you both in Government Zero and on this program, are Mao Zedong's offspring in a new generation and a new iteration, then you don't even understand history and you're condemned to repeat the nightmare of the Chinese Communist Cultural Revolution. The mobs on campus are the Red Brigades of our time, and they are being orchestrated, by the way, by Barack Obama's White House, as sure as I'm sitting here, because he congratulated them for shutting down free speech. That's topic number 2, and I'll get back to Mao Zedong's minions here in America under Ayatollah Obama a little later. This came to us from the Week magazine. Out magazine just named President Obama the LGBT community's ally of the year. The cover marks the first time a sitting president has been photographed for an LGBT publication. While Out says Obama started out his presidency as coy, even awkward on the subject of LGBT rights, the president's evolution led the magazine to crown him their LGBT ally of the year. The president's evolution. Now, I'm just reading a quote on the word evolution, but you know, the way I use the word evolution could be considered hurtful. So it could be that soon words themselves will not only be considered suspect, but the way you pronounce the words could be somehow violating someone's sensitivities. New app helps transgender, gender nonconforming individuals find restrooms. I couldn't make this stuff up. I mean, I grew up reading Mad Magazine, but under Obama, the world is Mad Magazine. A new website is offering an app to help transgender and other gender nonconforming individuals find safe restroom access across the United States of America. What? RefugeeRestrooms.org picks up the torch where Safe 2P left off. Is this real? Is this real? And makes the valuable resource available to those who find themselves in need of a place to pee safely once again. I can't believe we're living in this. Well, I can believe it. I've faced it all my life. Now, here's who led the mobs on campus. We have her name. There's a very well circulated MP3 going around of a so-called professor. Imagine a professor. Well, I'll read you her background. You'll see what a professor is today. Mizzou mass media prof Melissa Click calls for, quote, muscle to remove a reporter. I want you to listen to the new fascism in the form of Melissa Click at Mizzou Mass on clip 3.
Hi, media. Can I talk to you?
No, you need to get out.
Well,
you need to get out.
No, I don't.
You need to get out.
I actually don't.
All right. Hey, who wants to help me get this reporter out of here? I need some muscle over here.
Who wants to help me get this reporter out of here? I need some muscle over here. If this isn't fascism, tell me what is. If this does not confirm that I've been warning you about liberal fascism for 21 years. Tell me what does. If this doesn't warn you that we have the Red Brigades in America under a new name, tell me what does. So who is Dr. Melissa Click? It's laughable when I read you her background, and now you'll see why the university has become cesspools of lower living. This dummy earned her PhD from the Department of Communication at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Okay, on the face of it, that sounds legitimate. Her research interests center on popular culture texts. What does that mean? And audiences, particularly texts and audiences disdained in mainstream culture. What would that be? Some perverted literature published in a dirty bookstore? Her work in this area is guided by audience studies, theories of gender and sexuality, and media literacy. If I put this dummy on the radio for 3 minutes, she'd have a nervous breakdown. You'd see how media literate she is. Current research projects by this dummy, this is at a university. Current research projects by this dummy involve 50 Shades of Grey readers, the impact of social media in fans' relationship with Lady Gaga, masculinity and male fans, messages about class and food in reality television program, and messages about work in children's television programs. Melissa is vice chair of ICA's Popular Communication Division and is co-chair of the committee hosting, I can't even read this, but she's a real big shot, and she has so many awards that were given to her by her sisters. Melissa's excellence in the classroom has been recognized by the MU Chancellor's Committee on the Status of Women, the Intercollegiate you get the picture. They make up awards. They write their own journals. They teach rubbish to our children, and then they riot in the streets. Garbage. Filth. Those are none of the stories that I really want to talk about. They're just the headlines. And now we'll get to the stories I really want to talk about. Now, this one is going to be so controversial that I may lose a number of people who have loved me for many years. So let me read you the headline. Michelle Bachmann ends Israel trip with a plea for Jews to convert to Christianity. Plain English. Michelle Bachmann went to Israel, and she gave a plea in an interview with the Family Research Council, a conservative Christian group, pleading for Jews to convert to Christianity. When I saw this, I said, you know what this confirms? This confirms every fear that leftists like Larry David have had about evangelicals their whole life. Now, I have fought these leftists all of my years on radio. I've called them mentally insane, crazy. How many years have I said to you Israel's greatest supporters are conservative Christians? 21 years. How many years have insane liberals who hate America and particularly hate Christians, how many years have they attacked the evangelicals saying that they don't really like Jews, they're only waiting to convert them to Christianity? Well, having said that, now let's see what Michelle Bachmann has to say about that. She seems to confirm our worst fears about the crackpot religious right. You have to listen to this, because in saying what she says, she's almost no different. Let's put it to you this way. She's putting out the same message as ISIS without the blade to the throat. Here is Michelle Bachmann, the lunatic, in clip number 2.
We recognize the shortness of the hour, and that's why we as a remnant want to be faithful in these days and do what it is that the Holy Spirit is speaking to each one of us, to be faithful in the kingdom and to help bring in as many as we can, even among the Jews. Share Jesus Christ with everyone that we possibly can, because again, he's coming soon.
I could say only 60 seconds of silence could follow such an insane statement. That in our day and age, a congresswoman, is she still in Congress or did they throw her out? I don't even know if she's still in there. I know she used my show when she was in Congress and she got in trouble with Nancy Pelosi. She came on my show, and then when she raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for my listeners, she no longer would come on the show. But now the crackpot is pleading for Jews to convert. Okay, what do you want to say about that? If nothing, that's fine. The phone number is 855-400-7282. I've given you 6 stories. Ayatollah Obama stopped by federal court. University of Missouri police ask students to report hurtful speech. Out Magazine just named President Obama the LGBT community's ally of the year. Michelle Bachmann ends Israel trip with plea for Jews to convert to Christianity. And that's only the beginning of the show. That's the first few minutes. And the conversation begins at 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. And I want to tell you that tonight, there's a debate, which I'm bored of, incidentally, in advance. But okay, we're all going to watch parts of it. There's too many of them. The election's going on too long, in my opinion, and it should be limited to 30 days, frankly, a campaign. This is a sick country. Everything is an opportunity to sell ads. They could have a funeral for 3 years, a state funeral for someone, and can sell ads around a state funeral when someone important dies, like maybe an actress or somebody. They could put the nation into a 1 year of mourning when one of the sluts dies in Hollywood. So tonight's debate will be followed by Newsmax TV airing a special post-debate program. And I am going to be on for a few minutes on DirecTV channel 349 or on NewsmaxTV.com to give you my opinion of who did what. And I'll be, I guess you call it, twittering throughout the debate as I did last time. And I'll tell you what I think tonight if you want to watch it on TV. I got the jacket, I got the tie, I got the shirt all laying in the closet up there near the Skype system. And now I want to go to a topic that really interests me, which I'm not going to do now. It's too much for you. Plenty to talk about so far. But when I come back, I'm going to introduce another topic, which is on the Nobel Prize in Medicine, which was awarded to a Chinese scholar, actually a Chinese scientist, who derived a very important medicine from a plant that was very well known in Chinese medicine. And the reason this is important to me is because for 20 years of my life, I collected plants in rainforests, mainly in the South Pacific. I sent most of my samples back to the National Cancer Institute for further analysis to see if important drugs could be found. And my plant collections are in 7 museums around the world. And yet there are people who still think that this is all stupid work. They have no idea what they're talking about. They're ignoramuses when they don't understand that 25% of most of our medicines to this day, 25% of our drugs today, medicines, still come from a natural product. It just shows you how ignorant people are who have no background in science. This is the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Hey, our Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust for wealth insurance, gold and silver. Call 800-BUYCO. 24 minutes after the hour, you're listening to the one and only Savage Nation. And we see the whatever coming home to roost on the campuses with a lunatic fringe, which will one day be moving into corporate jobs and using hysteria and Maoist tactics, will soon be dictating corporate policy. The lunatics who think that they have the right to scream and shout and tell everyone to shut up at Missouri are not actually a symptom of an illness. They are the illness. The illness has been seen before. It's been seen in the Soviet Union. It's been seen in communist China. It's been seen in Cambodia. It's seen in Cuba. And in Government Zero, I covered this issue of, is Obama a Muslim? And I've told you, no, he's a Maoist. He's not a Muslim. He's a Maoist, a quiet Maoist, a stealth Maoist. And let me begin at the beginning. This is a very serious topic. I have long felt that this administration is filled with Maoists. Now, people have wrongly called them Marxists. I've called them Leninists. But as I've observed this administration, I've come to understand that they're more politically associated with Mao Zedong than anyone else. The only thing missing thus far are the deaths and the death camps. The fact is, though, that the style, the techniques, and the methodology being used by Obama and this character, Josh Ernst, who must have to burn his clothing after every time he gives a press conference, is the technique that was practiced by the Mao Zedong acolytes. Many of you come out of colleges where you were subjected to brainwashing. Brainwashing going back, frankly, to your elementary school days. Brainwashing on what to think about gays. Brainwashing what to think about global warming, brainwashing on what to think about illegal aliens who've invaded our nation. But it's all brainwashing.